Howdy, I'm Grey Pilgrim. Last night, excuse me a second, I'm going to get over to my chair. Last night I was talking with Othias on his Discord server, and he mentioned that he wanted a closer look at this old converted pinfire of mine, because in an earlier video he did, I noticed that he was showing off a pinfire that looked just like this thing. I'm not really equipped to take a still camera. I don't have one. I realize everybody in the world says, well, just whip out your phone. I don't carry a phone. I don't own a cell phone. I do not believe in keeping a government bug in my pocket. I worked in security for too many years to not know how to do that. And if I know how to do it, I'm sure as hell somebody else knows how. Anyway, my own prejudices aside, this is a Lafano. On the top, let me get this down here where I can see. The only markings say E Lafano, BR, the little T R or TH, SD, SGDG, A, Paris, which I've heard means something like patented. Okay, now, this was a pinfire. If you look inside the loading gate, you will see cylinders have a pin notch on them and a hole for a very large cartridge. This shoots a 44 caliber thing, but it's a little too short for a 44 special to fit it. So what I do is I take 44 special brass, cut it down, fill it with a black powder, and then put a 44 round ball on it as a slug. That seems to work. But anyway, what somebody has done, you see it had a much longer extension here so that when the hammer fell, it would contact these pinholes here. Well, since these are not in use, what somebody has done is they've brazed, it looks like they brazed this firing pin onto this hammer. And it's, and then chopped off the rear part. So, I mean the front part. So when you fire, see that's what happens. The firing pin goes in. Before, it used to contact the pin on the top here. But the pinfire system was a flash in the pan of the gun world. I think they're very fascinating myself. Anyway, this thing has very similar escutcheons on the grips to the one he showed. These are not engraved or gold-plated or any of that fancy stuff. This is a very plain Jane gun. Wait a minute, there is more markings there. Let me see what I can find. It says, hold on a second. It says Lafano on it. That's all it really says. And something I cannot read. The serial number of this thing is on this side. This looks like a proof mark here. There, can you see that? It looks like a proof mark. And then 52955 is the serial number. And I think that's also a proof mark. Though there isn't one on the barrel, which is kind of strange, and there isn't one on the cylinder, which is also strange. If this was British, it would have a proof mark on each of the individual cylinder, cylinders, or places in the cylinder to put it around. Anyway, this is my converted pinfire. And as I said, I'm not very good at taking still photos. Matter of fact, even if I had a camera, I'm really no good at it. By the way, the way you unload this thing is you open up the side gate, run this pin through to knock the shell out with this thing in half cock, and then just advance the cylinder to the next one, and that's how it's done. The takedown involves pull this screw out, and then this whole front section of the frame and the and this part of the thing just spins off, taking the barrel with it. So I have an old Josiah L's revolver that works on a very similar process. Only instead of the screw being here on his, it's right here. I've yet to develop the bravery needed to take it apart, because when I do take it apart, I want to replace the nipples on it. because the ones in there are just completely peened down. But I don't want to hurt it because, I mean, it's one of 624 that were ever made. And they're kind of almost impossible to find anymore. If you haven't heard of Josiah Ells, he probably knew Jonathan Browning, John Moses' dad, because he was a Mormon from Britain who took to the Utah Trail. And he made guns for the Utah Trail. I've done a video about his revolver before. Anyway, I hope this can provide some data for Othias. You know, he really wanted me to do some still photos real close that he could look it up. I guess I don't know, because I'm just a dumb hillbilly. But yeah, only markings really is the copyright or patent line or whatever it is on the top of the barrel, and that stamp I pointed out. So anyway, that's all I got. Happy trails.